I love you very much.
A few weeks ago I was on Hinge, and obviously you go through it and you can see your political views.
They talked about training their wives and wives having obedience.
I don't think I can name one time I saw a single woman that said conservative. Everyone is liberal, and immediately I'm going to say no to that, because with my views...
They talked about, like, you're not supposed to talk back, like it's not feminine. Like, you're supposed to, like, do what your husband says.
It's just not going to work, especially when you see the liberal woman over here. I mean, just being a man, they're going to look at you and think you're racist or whatever, because that's just the assumptions they make.
And I could come down and start kissing everybody. I'll kiss every guy, man and woman, man and woman. Look at that guy, how handsome he is. I'll kiss him.
Valentine's Day is a divisive holiday. Those of you in relationships probably see it as a wonderful opportunity to show a special someone how much you love them, and prop up the greeting card florist and chocolate industries for another year, of course. For those of us not in relationships, Valentine's Day is a horrible reminder that we live in a world designed to demonstrate to us on every level that we are unlovable goblin people who don't deserve a single good thing in this life and are cursed to die alone. Sorry, that was just me. I'm sure the rest of you are doing better. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Please don't ask me how I'm doing. But no matter how bad things get for little old me, I can take heart in the one constant in the world of dating and relationships that never ceases to put a smile on my face. That being the fact that conservatives are perpetually screaming that no one will date them, to the point where they made a bunch of dating apps exclusively for conservatives, only to find out that there were no women signing up to them. It's almost as if women don't want to date people who want to take away their fundamental human rights.
I would rather have a hot curling iron shoved up my ass and a 500-pound man swan dive and then cannonball on my head than marry a man that voted for Donald Trump.
Many of these apps have come and gone. Well, a lot less of them have come, let's be honest, but almost to a one, they have all ended in disaster or stagnation. And so conservatives are once again, by and large, back on your standard issue apps. Your Tinders, your Bumbles, your Hinges, and your presumably real lives. And despite having insisted for years that they don't need to date anyone to the left of Benito Mussolini, are back on the prowl, and still, after all these years, are constantly whining about how fundamentally unfuckable they all are.
Because they see a right-wing man, they're just going to assume, oh, if I date him, he's going to want me to stay in the kitchen, all that, or he's going to be racist, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I can speak for myself, but a lot of men will probably just be afraid to go talk to women, because these days, you can just say hello to a woman and they can blow it out of proportion, they can do many things.
What an odd thing to say.
And I'm not just saying this as a jab, well, not entirely, but this is a fact that's been backed up by data. Take, for example, this graph for the American Perspective Survey in January 2023, which shows that 52% of Americans would be less likely to date someone if they were a Trump supporter. And that was before he hit his recent lows in popularity, before we all discovered that Big Beautiful Bill wasn't just the name he called his legislation.
Bill Clinton's a big boy, he can handle it.
This number goes up when you look at college-educated daters as well. According to another American Perspective survey in December 2024, at a relative peak in Trump's popularity, single men were 36% less likely to date someone if they're a Trump supporter, and 46% less likely if they're college-educated. And unfortunately for every single chud out there, single women were 52% less likely to date someone if they're a Trump supporter, and 73% less likely if they're college-educated. In the UK, a comparison of dating success by partisanship showed Tories only had a 35% chance of success, and Reform had a 39% chance, compared to Labour and Green voters who were just above 50%, and 49% for your piss diamonds out there. And if you take this issue by issue, it's even more stark. Take a look at this Change Research survey. 76% of women surveyed said being a MAGA Republican is a red flag. 60% said All Lives Matter is a red flag, and unfortunately for all the people who've been banned from this video's comment section, 58% said thinking there are only two genders is a red flag. So if you're conservative and looking to date, you're going to be having a harder time than if you had, not atrocious politics. Ironically, you might start to find yourself with a dating pool similar to what us queers have to put up with. This episode brought to you by Grindr. Okay, you got me. There is no sponsor in this week's video. I got a sponsor one time, and I put it on my video about the Pope. They never came back. I don't know if that was related. But much like conservative men consistently crashing out on dates once they let slip their politics are closer to Farage than Fanon, I too constantly tell myself that they'll be back. One day they'll realise what they're missing and come crawling back. Sponsor or not, I am, of course, Brigitte Empire, science and culture correspondent for the Daily Telegraph, the only newspaper in Britain that still does classified ads for those of you who are sick of Tinder and Bumble and want to date the old-fashioned way. And by that I mean printing a written ad in a newspaper with an average readership age of 7,000 years old. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the bizarre world of conservative dating and ask, whatever happened to all of those conservative dating apps? The ones we used to see 1,000 articles a minute about a few years ago? Where did they all go? Well, I know the answer to that, but first, I think it's time that we listen to some conservative men. Why is nobody listening to the conservative men?
Dating is the big issue. Specifically, I think marriage is the big issue. The way to explain those numbers is to point to how late people are getting married.
When you see one of the 1,000 slop articles a year that complains that conservative men are having too hard a time dating because all women have become woke and gay, it's always conservative men that are pictured in floods of tears because no woman will date them. Can you imagine? No woman wanting to date you just because you have horrific and dehumanizing views?
My boyfriend loves Trump, and I do not. That is currently the... That didn't age well, now did it? So we actually broke up a month after I posted that video because we were watching the J.D. Vance debate, and he said that all Black people needed to get over slavery since his grandparents came over on a horse-drawn wagon, and although mine were picking cotton in a field, great-grandparents, and although mine were picking cotton in a field, that we had all of the exact same advantages in life. And so that's when I realized he really wasn't on my team, and I felt extremely unsafe that he was not vouching for me. So the G-Wagon was great. The Limitless Amex was great, but was it worth it? I'm gonna go with no, because my safety is a little bit more important.
No woman wanting to take you to bed just because you think all women should be forced to be domestic servants, constantly pumping out babies, and that you also think all gay people should be in prison? What kind of sick society would produce such an obvious wrong? Well, let's do what the woke pleth never do anymore these days, and just ask these men what they think about why it's so hard to date these days. I'm sure their answers will be incredibly normal and not at all make me want to gouge out my eyes with a pair of barbecue tongs. Most women under 30 today have been raised to do nothing in the house. They are unable to cook, clean, or properly care for a man. They don't understand you're supposed to wake up before the man does so you can prepare coffee, etc. Someone would do well to create a how-to course of YouTube teaching the basics of womanhood to the younger generation that clearly hasn't been housebroken. A lot of women, like a lot, maybe 1 in 10, 1 in 5, literally shed loads of women, put no Tories in their dating profile. It's everywhere you look. And not just no Tories, it's no TERFs, no SWERFs, and no whatever it is as well. Just a lot of no's. It's quite off-putting. I generally swipe right.
It's sad but true, the only thing liberal women care about is abortion, which is weird, because they're mostly all single and not at all attractive.
The good old lefty woman, no Tories, on the bandwagon, and obviously looking to fit in. Look, we won a referendum and the last 4 general elections, so swivel on that. 365 seats, Star Trek emoji.
You disrupt my flow, and I enjoy my peace. I don't want to fulfill your sexual bucket list. While I am a bad person if I have one, I also don't want to compromise or sacrifice my integrity to appease you. I don't care for your games and dramas. I am tired of it. I want to relax, and dating is anything but relaxing. I don't benefit from dating. Any woman my own age who's available
will be carrying around several bags of red flags and deal breakers, and I am left to pick the least bad option.
So, as you can see, these men...
None of these women wanted to date me 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now that they've finally accepted Uber Chad doesn't want them for anything but sex, and everyone else rejected them, they're finally willing to stoop to me, now that I am better than I was. But I don't want them. I want their superior, younger, less embittered ladies. And a lot of ladies 25 to 35 are happy to date a guy in his 40s. And are a lot more fun, open-minded, sexually open-minded, and often don't have all the same demand lists. So if I've entered my prime value, then I'm not dating women who've lost 50% of theirs.
That was weird.
Anyway, why would I date? It takes a lot of time and energy, and I don't care enough about any of them to try and play Shakespeare in online dating chats, hoping she sees my message in the deluge of thousands. I don't want the burden of carrying the conversation and keeping it interesting. Dating's like a second job that doesn't pay and costs a lot. What's in it for me? What's my benefit? I get to give you attention and validate you and feed your ego, but what's in it for me? I'll bet you just think being around you is a worthy reward. I wouldn't say men have given up, but we've adjusted our expectations. And what we expect is a chain of 99 problems, and we don't want the headache.
Just give me a...
When any woman reads something similar to this, you're just bitter/incel/hate women, you prove my next 5 points for me, so I won't bother making them. Instead, I will say that we live in a double standard society where it's sacred to be a woman and a curse to be a man.
Is it over? Is he done? Are we free? Okay. Okay, I think we're good.
A few weeks ago I was on Hinge, and obviously you go through it and you can see your political views. I don't think I can name one time I saw a single woman that said conservative. Everyone is either liberal or they put nothing.
Are very sort of like, if one thing's wrong, you know, if they have like one red flag, you know, then women won't date them.
I mean, just being a man, they're going to look at you and think you're racist or whatever, because that's just the assumptions they make. I think, yes, it does make dating very difficult.
Dating is a struggle.
Because they see a right wing man, they're just going to assume, oh, if I date him, he's going to want me to stay in the kitchen, all that, or he's going to be racist, blah, 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 blah.
I will have an opinion here that will really get people. You should not date people that have different politics than you. You should not.
I never thought I'd say this, but in that last clip, I agree with Charlie Kirk. Before you boo me, hear me out. These men, the ones in the videos, and the ones making anonymous comments on social media, are the kind of people who should absolutely stay the hell away from dating, at least until they can understand that people other than themselves and other white men deserve to live. That they deserve kindness, respect, and dignity. You see, these are the kind of men you always hear about in those 1,000 slop articles we're always seeing from the Telegraph or the Daily Mail, complaining that women simply won't date conservative men anymore. It's not just that these guys are a little bit old-fashioned, or that they fundamentally don't understand economics, although, for the record, I stand in full solidarity with people who would never date a Tory, and I am indeed one of those people, but these men are not just your run-of-the-mill conservative. These men are fundamentally opposed to human rights, and have opinions that would, in any sane society, have them put on a rocket ship and blasted to Mars. On a completely unrelated note, a Pew Research survey from 2022 found that women in the United States were more likely than their male counterparts to report feeling empathy for those suffering. Do you think, maybe, that the apparently significant percentage of men that didn't feel empathy for suffering might also be those same men that are struggling to date? Because I know if I was dating someone and it turned out that they have all the empathy of a rain-soaked pebble, I would probably nope the fuck out of there pretty quick. Like, these conservative men are visibly very upset that they're being dismissed out of hand by potential romantic partners because they think things like, brown people shouldn't be allowed in the country, or all trans people should be forcibly detransitioned, or gay people should all be in jail. They don't seem to be able to see that they're being dismissed because they dismiss not just the romantic potential, but the very humanity of huge swaths of the population. That same Pew Research survey from 2022 found women were more likely than men to have a desire to help those who are suffering. And before you start commenting, hashtag not all men, this is not all men, like actually this time, but there is a divide here. And in that divide are thousands, if not millions of men worldwide who are fundamentally just not compatible with most people in society. The rest of people are fine, but it's those men who are struggling to get dates here. The rest of men are cool. You can sit down. We're not talking about you. And there are women that think like these batshit men as well. But if they're out here wondering why the vast majority of the people they go after don't care for their views, because there are more of these men than there are those women, well, maybe they should start asking themselves if they are the problem.
I am just so tempted to date the non-Christian guy. I can't find a Christian man. How bad of an idea is it? It's really bad. Like, it's a really, really bad idea. He's a liberal. Okay, what are we talking? What are we talking liberal? Like, you're pro-life and he's pro-choice? Like, you're a capitalist and he's a communist?
In the last 12 hours, you've described her as being as mad as a jackdaw on crack, castratingly right-wing zealot.
Yeah. The Shadow Secretary of State for Digital Culture, Media and Sport, Lucy Powell, posted a picture on social media in which she was wearing a t-shirt with the words, "Never kissed a Tory."
Why the sudden outbreak of principle?
A couple of years ago, British media had a slew of articles terrified of the trend of women whose dating profiles said no Tories. People were wearing merch that said "Never kissed a Tory" on it, and journalists in this country were desperate for us to know how unacceptable that was. The politics shouldn't come into dating at all. But they're obviously wrong. Politics massively affects who you are willing to date. I wouldn't date someone who was transphobic as a trans person, and to be honest, I wouldn't date anyone who was in any way anti-immigrant or racist or Islamophobic. I think I probably wouldn't want to date anyone who wasn't a socialist, which does narrow my dating pool a little bit. But you have to know what's compatible with you and how you live. Lots of people date outside their politics. I don't understand how they keep from exploding every day, but they do it. But for a lot of us, politics is very important to us. Is it any surprise that as the Tories got more and more cruel to immigrants, to queer people, to women, that more and more people loudly proclaimed that any Tory trying to date them should jog on? It shouldn't be. And what's weirdest about this outrage about liberals and leftists refusing to date conservatives, to me, is that conservatives have been saying the same thing on and off for years, only taking breaks when they realise that every space they set aside for conservative-only dating turns out to be a bigger sausage fest than a German Christmas market. And that, of course, brings us to conservative dating apps, and in particular, a rather famous and lauded one in the media called The Right Stuff.
Download The Right Stuff today and start going out with normal guys.
Photos of yourself doing what you love. You'll start off by building your perfect profile. No pronouns necessary.
And what's the biggest red flag when it comes to dating?
A Democrat. No Democrats.
A Democrat. Can't be a Democrat. We're sorry that you've had to endure years of bad dates and wasted time with people that don't see the world our way, the right way.
A Democrat. That's easy. A Democrat.
No Democrats.
For my ladies, you'll never have to pay because we all get premium subscriptions for simply inviting a couple friends. Gentlemen, if you want access to premium, that's on you. And by the way, those are the only two options, ladies and gentlemen.
Find the right match. Download The Right Stuff today.
No, I don't think I will.
The Right Stuff was a conservative dating app launched in September 2022, co-founded by former Trump aide and Project 2025 staffer John McEntee. Now, you might think from the sound of that it's going to be a big mess, and it gets worse, because it was financially supported by Mr. Palantir himself, J.D. Vance's puppeteer, and Jeffrey Epstein's business partner and friend, Peter, I don't know if the human race should survive, Thiel.
The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety.
You might have heard of this app. There was a massive buzz around it when it was announced, and it was pushed incredibly hard in the media. You might have read its incredibly sexy and alluring announcement post on Twitter, which read, "The Right Stuff was created for conservatives to connect in authentic and meaningful ways. Other dating apps have gone woke. we bring people together with shared values and similar passions. Right from the start, this app was designed to address conservative grievances with traditional dating apps, the same complaints you saw from the reform voters in the video by Joe.co.uk earlier. In the words of co-founder Daniel Huff,
on the other dating apps, you have the antagonism, the discrimination against conservatives, not just from the users, but from the platform itself. The right stuff was created to deal with those situations.
Now, you might start to spot a bit of a problem here, given the disconnect between what I was talking about earlier, about this being largely a thing that men want and women do not want. Well, the right stuff thought it had figured out the solution to this little problem. So, in a promo video for the app starring the younger sister of a former Trump White House secretary, the right stuff announced,
it's invite only, so not just anyone can join. First of all, it's free to use. And for my ladies, you'll never have to pay because we all get premium subscriptions for simply inviting a couple friends. Gentlemen, if you want access to premium, that's on you. And by the way, those are the only two options.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The app did, apparently, release. And it gets worse. One of the questions users were asked to answer to build their profiles was their opinion on January the 6th. These answers were apparently passed on to the FBI, and a bunch of users reported getting called by the FBI trying to find out where they were on January the 6th. And even more of a tragedy for the conservative men crying out for a place to find like-minded women is that there were apparently no women on the app. At least early on, no women. Well, you know what you have to do, fellas. You didn't want to date any liberals. It's time to be gay. For God.
We'll put a in your ass, it's the American way.
The lack of women was apparently such a major issue for the app that they assigned Ryan McEnany, the aforementioned sister of a Trump White House secretary, to convince attractive conservative women to sign up. It, didn't work. Don't take it from me, take it from this user complaint. These days, it's hard to find a woman who values my patriotism, my faith. And so, after being ghosted by every match on Tinder, I decided to give this app a try. But the weird thing was, I couldn't find any women on it. I don't know. Maybe the app is bugged? Aside from all the above stuff, the right stuff got in legal trouble due to its name, which was shared with a white nationalist website that already existed and with another dating website that has nothing to do with conservative politics, but was also called The Right Stuff. Despite creating essentially a dating app exclusively for homophobic men, getting their users' data compromised and ratted out to the FBI, I assume some people must have been happy to get their no pronouns necessary dating apps up, despite it being incredibly hard to make a dating profile without using pronouns. Hello. Name is conservative. Like beer, fishing, and boobs. Hate healthcare and human rights. Ideal date is take on long walk around Creationism Museum. Message, if also admire work of Alex Jones. Kiss, kiss, kiss. God, it's been a long time since I've written a dating profile. That's probably not how you're supposed to do it. Anyway, they didn't get to do any of that stuff because The Right Stuff, despite having articles pumped out about it in every paper and TV show on Earth, including in liberal outlets and in countries where it was never released, did not last as long as you would expect for an app that was made out to be the second coming of Republican Jesus. And in November 2025, just over 3 years after its release, users were told via email that the app would be terminated within 24 hours. The evil was defeated, and unluckily for those of us who now have to filter through right-wingers on Tinder again, is no longer on the App Store.
What are you looking for in a partner?
They just have to be a conservative.
Now, having a dating app that's marketed exclusively for people who hate women and gay people, founded by a married gay billionaire and featuring 0 women users, isn't necessarily a death sentence. A lot of these conservative dating apps popped up around this time. People obviously seemed to think there was a market for it. Most of them aren't still up anymore, but they existed, and presumably they will exist again, and there are some still up. They don't have many users, and they certainly don't have many women users, but they are apparently still up. A lot more of them, however, are not. And I suspect the vast majority of them are not. For example, other options for far-right would-be daters back in the day would include such gems as Trump.dating, a site that is also definitely down, because when I clicked on the link, I got a homepage I absolutely cannot show on YouTube without getting demonetized, and Donald Daters, an app released in 2018 to help Trump supporters find dates.
I love you very much.
If you've ever been in the dating world, you know part of the goal is to find someone you're compatible with, someone who's like you.
According to the ever-impartial folks at Fox News, on Donald Daters,
conservatives may encounter messages like, Trump supporters swipe left on Tinder, and if you voted for Trump, don't waste my time, on other popular dating apps. A 2016 survey from Tinder found that 71% of online daters consider political differences to be a deal breaker. Enter Donald Daters, a new dating app that launched Monday for Apple and Android devices with the mission of helping Trump supporters meet and mingle on a platform free of any liberal backlash.
For many Trump supporters, liberal intolerance has made meeting and dating nearly impossible. Support for the president has become a deal breaker instead of an icebreaker. That's why we created a new platform for Trump supporters to meet people without being afraid of talking politics.
This app was, maybe unsurprisingly, also hacked hours after its launch, exposing the personal data of over 1,600 users. Users that apparently were paying out of their arse for this because subscriptions to Donald Daters started at $29.99 per month. Donald Daters still has its social media up, but its website is very much no longer available. Please do not go to donalddaters.com. So, where are conservatives supposed to go to date? Well, apparently back to where the rest of us are. It's no secret that every year at CPAC, at the Republican National Convention, and at every Trump rally, users of Grindr spike in whatever area they happen to be in. If you look for the list of best conservative dating apps on datingnews.com, which you shouldn't, it's not a good website, but I did, the number one choice is Match.com, just a regular dating app with premium features, which has never been marketed as an exclusively conservative dating app. Although I don't imagine whoever wrote that article put much effort into actually analysing the best conservative dating apps, since the article was apparently from January 28, 2026, and includes both Donald Daters and The Right Stuff, two apps which, no longer exist.
The day of the app's launch, the entire user database was leaked.
Really, the most reliable place for your most vile couples to find each other is probably something like one of the many Christian dating sites, like Christian Mingle, or I suppose you could maybe read a book and try and get some better opinions. I mean, why are people like this? What drives people to be so fundamentally incompatible with the people they're attracted to that they start to think there's a conspiracy against conservative men to keep them from finding love?
Love does not exist, and why mutual love is a female nature fantasy. And the problem is oftentimes men have been convinced of this fantasy as well.
Well, the thing about becoming radicalized is it makes you increasingly unable to connect with people with mainstream opinions. It makes you close yourself off, and it can even make you paranoid. The MAGA right aren't just uncomfortable with more left-wing ideas, they're hostile to them. And that's understandable given how incompatible we are. But when you look at the data and see how much more likely women are to be left-wing, especially younger women, you can see how the most Trump-pilled conservative men are starting to feel like the walls are closing in. And don't get me wrong, that is entirely on them. They should be the ones asking themselves why it is so many of the people they will potentially care about or even love are disgusted with the things that they say and do. Perhaps with some self-reflection, they might be able to bring themselves back from the brink. Those that don't, well, they draw themselves further and further away from society, surrounding themselves with an increasingly smaller circle of like-minded individuals and wondering why they can't find anyone to connect with. In other words, in harsher words, they do it to themselves. In fact, the whole idea of The Right Stuff as a dating app is built around exclusion. about enclosing the users of the app into a smaller and smaller bubble, and keeping out those who might challenge these people and might, therefore, force them to confront the things about them that people find off-putting. Confrontations that could potentially lead them towards becoming more successful in dating, more attractive even. And this isn't an accident. The Right Stuff was a Peter Thiel project, after all. Part of the point was to ramp up the radicalization of American conservatives, to more easily allow Peter Thiel's dream of techno-fascism to take root without resistance. According to a paper by Kurt Sengel specifically about the politics of the Right Stuff represents a novel and significant intervention in the broader far-right alt-tech movement. Financed by right-wing billionaire activist Peter Thiel and co-founded by Trump administration and Project 2025 alumni, the app maintains a distinctly political agenda that goes beyond simply monetizing effectively polarized conservatives. Like all alt-tech platforms, the Right Stuff feeds into wider victimhood narratives. The conservatives have not only been censored from big tech platforms, but are ostracized in these allegedly left-wing dominated spaces. The far-right app promotes a haven for young right-wing singles to engage freely in conversations about dating, intimacy, sex, relationships, and politics, free from this alleged persecution. The Right Stuff should be seen in alignment with other right-wing political projects, such as Turning Point USA. In this context, the Right Stuff, like Gab and Truth Social, serves a broader political function of establishing a discrete parallel digital economy and infrastructure to support far-right political movements and laundering far-right ideologies to young people. You can see in real time that this tactic has been somewhat working. The targeting of single conservative men, often without hope, as single men of any demographic can be at times, and single women, are convinced, as they were at the height of the incel movement and still are to an extent, that the problem comes not from within, but from without. That it's not that you need to just go out and meet more people, it's that your dating pool is full of evil women, and evil liberal women at that, in a conspiracy to destroy your chances at ever getting a date.
Women have two sets of criteria that they judge men on. One of them is good guy stuff, and one of them is bad boy stuff. Good guy stuff, the level of good guy things that you have, which is, of course, how much you're investing in her. Is it enough for her?
Vera Papisova wrote a really interesting piece for Cosmopolitan last year, where she spent a year dating conservative men, and you can see this attitude clearly having set in on those on the far right. One man she dated told her one of his hobbies was making lists of lies liberal white women tell about Donald Trump, and followed up with, white liberal women are a plague on our society. Others, as the late Charlie Kirk did, told her that women must be submissive to their husbands, that they should be trained, that being independent was bad, and that liberal women emasculate with their aggressive energy. The same guy also said that white people have a right to maintain a positive identity, and that white guilt is poisoning kids. These people don't see how off-putting they are, because they have surrounded themselves exclusively with people who agree with their horrifying opinions, or at least don't challenge them enough to make them consider how off-putting they are. And the thing is, I don't know if in their heart of hearts, all of them believe in this stuff. How many of them say this stuff because they think that's what a strong man should think? That it's what it means to be a good Christian? Both of these things are wrong, obviously, but there is a lot of messaging, from the political right but also from the media, reinforcing these beliefs. If they could come out of their radicalization chamber for a second and get some oxygen, if they talked to women openly about this stuff and took in the actual reaction people have, and consider it, instead of getting defensive or ignoring objections, would they all stick with this hardline, anti-woman, racist, queer-phobic worldview? Some of them would, for sure, but I think we tend to overestimate how many people on the right are not true believers, but just sheep who have followed the herd into a very dark place. Maybe I'm too optimistic about that, but I don't think so. I think we can reach some of these people.
The Julie Cotton Foundation, and between myself and the very handsome Mike Ewins from Confetti Studios, we're going to be sort of hosting tonight.
You know, I've been at rock bottom before. I know what it feels like to think that you'll never find love. I know how it feels to think you've fallen too far and that there's no turning back. But importantly, I know what it's like to turn back from that. to come back and to find success and to even find love. I've done it before. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to do it again. I've realized before when I've fallen down a dark path that I don't recognize the person I've become, that I've used substances as coping mechanisms, that I've fallen off the wagon, that I've been listening to the wrong people, that I'm not seeing what's right in front of me, and I've turned it all around. I've taken control of my life. I've told the people who are important to me that I love them. I've embraced my family and my friends and let them help me. I've gone from thinking I'm fundamentally unlovable to having long-term relationships with wonderful people. It is possible. Despite, well, the situation I'm in now, I am still proof. If an overweight transsexual nerd can do it, you can too. It's important. No, it's crucial for these conservatives, however bizarre and off-putting they are right now, to know that there is still time. There is always still time.
What's there to tell you now? I could go for hours. That's how it plays in my head, but now I'm lost for words. The scenes I hope to find are too good to be true. But what more could I hope to find than just finding you? So maybe I'm not the one for anyone, but I believe that you're the one for me. I'm a little damaged goods, the world washes me up with the rain. I believe that you're the one I need. I'm getting all my hopes up, cause I am helpless. I know I'm wishing for too much, but I'm lost for words. You leave your marks upon my neck and I am spellbound. I'm deep and I know it's fleeting, but I beg for more. So maybe I'm not the one for anyone, but I believe that you're the one for me. I'm a little damaged good, the world washes me out with the rain. I believe that you're the one I need. So maybe I'm not the one for anyone, but I believe that you're the one for me. I'm a little damaged goods, the world washes me out with the rain, but I believe that you're the one I need.
Hey, thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. Hopefully I didn't cry. Hopefully you didn't see me welling up at that last paragraph. Valentine's Day is hard this year because it's been, well, my first single Valentine's Day in like 6 years, and that fucking sucks. And some stuff is happening, which makes it even more annoying in a little bit, but that's mostly my fault. Honestly. So sometimes you should have hope and sometimes you shouldn't, and sometimes you need to listen to what people are saying. Well, why am I mumbling about this? Everyone knows that I'm single now. Everyone knows that I shouldn't bother about it. It's fine. A lot of you are too, presumably. We'll get there. We'll find something. It's not the end, despite how it might feel on Valentine's Day sometimes for people like me who are quite emotional and also, you know, catch feelings quite a lot. Okay, whatever. Ignore all that. If you like this video, like and subscribe, share it with your friends, give it a hype if you can. I don't know if that button's around. I think it's back around. I hear that it's around. If you does it do anything? Let's find out. You give me money if you want to as well. That would make me feel better. Give me a Valentine's Day gift of a tip on Coffee or PayPal, or go to my YouTube membership or Patreon, where you can get on the members-only Discord. You can get early videos sometimes. You can get unbleeped versions of videos when they have been bleeped. You can get my Nintendo Switch friend code. You can get on the Discord again. I should mention that again because apparently people don't know about the Discord. It exists. Just search Discord on Patreon. I don't link it to the Patreon directly because then Patreon controls it, and I think then when someone leaves the Patreon, they leave the Discord, and I don't want to do that. If you've ever given me £1 or whatever, however much money you've given me on Patreon. If you can't afford that anymore, I don't want you to be kicked out of the community because of Patreon. So you can find that there, and you can stay as long as you want, as long as you've given me £1 in your lifetime. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I think I should. I think it'd be cool to have people in there. Where else was I? Sometimes content exclusive with people that I've talked to, and good stuff. You'll sign name up you. I can't be bothered to date again. I'll be honest. It's taking a lot out of me to just cope with the possibility. Ignore me again. You'll get your name if you sign up to those things read out the end of the video. And really, that's better than online dating is having names at the end of videos like Rain, Michael McGrorty, Will, Alexandra Barnes, Reesnet, Ken Sorden, Andrew Steele, Georgie, Carlito Del Mozzozze, Anna Nicholson, Dungeon Slime, Naomi Gorman, Melody, Ben Norman, Heidi Law, Transform and Function, Cara Patching, Mattia98, Lilith Dawn, Spin Noir, Victor Lufgren, Gil the Gilded Dragon, A Slice of Cake, Rue, Charlie Hallam, Buried Elk, Ewan Bennett, Bags, Mouty M, Gina Service, You Are Made of Stupid, Tomo, Melissa Jackson, Ren approves your stuff, Minstrel, of course, Jeffrey Tom the Not Quite So Brave as Sir Lancelot, LFR, Treequoy, Ariella, Proquar, Robin Thomas, Emily Eisenberg, Garlicscape, Kira B, No Sparkling Heart, Corey, Gianna J, Mighty the Sword, Carolyn, Imogen Q, Luciano Frias Andrade, Adam, Harry, Endog191, Cav, Quesadilla de Tortilla Azul, Leron, Adam Lees, Daniel Nevels, No Not That Paul, MB, Wandering Wonder, Ashley Murphy, Lex Phoenix, Enter Kurzitz, Mira D, Jade Senior, Boa Ia, James W, Thorngill, Deborah Laboon, Zilla's Athenaeum, Vince Whitaker, Amelia Sett, Jason Haig, Frank McManus, Susan Foster, Helena Real, Sierra Whiskey, Ali Catgill, John N, Lloyd Luciente, Jason Cribbett, Shield Dayton, Robin Podolsky, Nightlight Plushy Jesus, Casual Observer, Manta Ray, Corny Burmack, Sleepy Slug, Phil Petrobroga, Soma Piglet, Brain Douche, Artie Wolf, Deanna McMillan, Carolyn Regalado, Alexandra Lilly, Howard Lott, Meow Meowski, Kamui, Eva Kebab, Marty Hunt, Robin McCallan, Jane Lisa Varian, Melissa Allen, Ataraxis Builds Things, Sarah Francesca Smith. Thank you all so much. You make my day, my life, my year. I'll be there for you. Genuinely, it means the world. Yes. As always, you can join these guys if you give to Patreon or YouTube membership, and I love you all for doing that. It's what keeps this going, and it makes my life, and it makes me be able to, do basic things, and also I love it, and it makes me know that you appreciate me, and that I'm not just throwing these into the void, and I like that people like them. It makes me very happy and emotional, in a good way, not in a bad way, like the being single thing. That does make me emotional in a bad way. Sometimes it makes you emotional in a good way, and then you get disappointed, and then you're emotional in a bad way again. Someone tell me what dating app I should be using as a trans person. I don't know anymore. I talk to people about this, and apparently they're all bad. Help. All right. Oh god, good luck to you guys. I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day, and that you weren't sad about it like I was, and that you have a great day and a great life, and know that no matter how dark the world is and how disappointing your Valentine's Day may or may not have been, that I love you. I think you are cool as fuck, and I'm very happy for you to be here, and I love that you are here, and I love you in general. Yeah, sorry I didn't get you chocolates this year. I don't know where you live, so I can't send you chocolates because I am not asking for people's addresses. That would be weird, and also a GDPR violation. So I'm definitely not going to do that. And maybe this is why I'm single, because I can't shut the fuck up. So I'm going to try and do that now, and maybe I'll get lucky. And if I shut the fuck up, then maybe good things will happen. But I guess I need to stop talking again for the next video. So, see you when I stop shutting the fuck up again. Goodbye.
We'll put a brand